It's been a while since I've actually done a MrTARDIS update, but as we approach the Centenary special, I thought it was quite timely. Let's do it now real quick while we've got a moment, while I've got your folks' attention here. Thank you so much for watching this live stream. And if you want to keep updated on all other live streams in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Really helps me out, and hit that like button because that also helps to support the channel. If you also want to support the channel, you can get merch. I've got a merch store in the description below. It's a Teesprings one, some designs from my wife. We've got a cyber controller one, we've got macro ones as well, check those out, but we have actually just added a brand new mug to the store. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the socially awkward mug. This is from the in-joke from my script reading on live stream of Can You Hear Me, where the socially awkward 13th Doctor has nothing to say to Graham O'Brien, and the script just says beat. I have the mug as well. I designed the mug, but my wife actually drew it out, and you can get the mug on the Teesprings website in the description below. And also, for 1 week only, if you wanted to get a 20% off discount on this mug, or on all the other mugs in the store, be sure to use the coupon code LIVESTREAM, LIVESTREAM, all one word, capital LIVESTREAM, and you get 20% off the mug and 20% off the mugs in store as well. So yeah, the socially awkward mug, the perfect mug when you're having difficult conversations with friends or when they're opening up to you. Any awkward pauses or gaps in the chat are instantly explained with the beat. So yeah, that's an in-joke from the live stream, but I hope you folks enjoy any awkward conversations. Thank you to my wife for putting that mug together. You can get that. There's a link to that in the description below as well if you wanted a socially awkward mug. As for other stuff that I've been up to, of course, a few things to announce. Doctor Who Velocity had an episode, their fan film with the Velocity Doctor, with Crystal Moore. Had a latest episode where they fought the Boglins. So be sure to check that out and listen hard for the in the third act of that story, because you might recognise a voice in this story combating the Velocity Doctor. That's all I'll say. You know, keep your ears, keep your eyes peeled there. Next up, I will be appearing at the London Comic-Con on the 30th of October. I've been invited for the Community Show Live by Jack Reeves. That's me on the poster there for the Community Show Live, hosted by Jack Reeves of the Doctor Who The Community Show. That's on the 30th of October at London MCM Comic-Con at 11:30 AM on the Creators Stage. It features myself, it features Chris Walker-Thompson, who you'll probably know as the Patrick Troughton, Second Doctor impressionist. We've got Megan Shirley from Doctor Who 2012, and we also have the creator of Doctor Who 2012 here as well. Jack Reeves is going to be hosting us on the creator stage at 11:30 AM on the 30th of October. So yeah, check all those out. That's generally what I've been up to. I've also got a few audio appearances in some Doctor Who related audio fan projects that have been recorded but have not formally been announced yet. So until they announce it, I'm keeping my mouth firmly shut. So yeah, and when it comes to other stuff as well, the updates for the channel. So I'm going to be taking a little bit of time off in October because it's my wife's birthday and we're going to be going away. But I will try, obviously, to do an in-depth review of the Centenary special. Following the Centenary special, I want to try and put together some retrospective videos, kind of similar to what I did for Bernard Cribbins, but, you know, a bit less downbeat. Wanted to be talking about something akin to like the character retrospective for characters such as Ace, as well as Tegan, for people who got introduced to them in the Centenary special and want to know more about them. I wanted to do them before the Centenary special came out. I wanted to do it before that, but what happened was that I just did not have the time, and then I realised, wait a second, by the time I do it, it'll be instantly outdated by the time the special comes out, so I might as well just do one big one and include the Centenary stuff. So that's the plan. I'm going to wait till the Centenary is broadcast and then do those character retrospectives on Ace and Tegan. I've been making my way through the classic series, and like in terms of Ace's stories from the end of season 24 to the end of season 26, and some Big Finish stuff as well, in order to put that together. So that's going to be coming out after the Centenary special. Yeah, in terms of other stuff though, over the past few years, I've been doing some December marathons. It was in 2019 I started them. I did Daleksember, which is a review of every single Dalek story from their genesis up to the latest resolution, from the Daleks up until resolution, because that was the latest Dalek story that had been broadcast at that time. And then the year after, I did Cybersember, where I did the same but of all of the Cybermen stories. I haven't uploaded the anthology compilation of that yet, because I knew through insider sources that the lone Cyberman and that the Cybermen themselves would be appearing in the Centenary special, so I held off on that, and then I'll do that afterwards. And then last year, because I didn't have quite as much time on my hands, I did a smaller one, but I did the top 50 compilation scenes. I'm going to wait until the Centenary is broadcast and then do a compilation of that as well, because of all the YouTube stuff. You can follow me on Twitter for all of that madness stuff. But in terms of what's happening this year, this December, unfortunately, due to it being an incredibly busy summer, which is good for me work-wise, but it's been frustrating in terms of making YouTube content outside of these live streams. It means that I've just not had as much time to put together the in-depth reviews. I initially wanted to, the original plan, and I was drafting lists for this, back in January, February time, top 50 Doctor Who villains. And then as I was going through the list, I was like, wait a sec, there's a load of villains, especially from the classic series, that I don't really know that much about. I haven't watched the Aztecs for a very long time. I forgot who the villain of that was. The Sensorites, I hadn't watched that for ages. And also some other classic Doctor Who stories, mainly from the black and white era. I can't do a comprehensive top 50 list. And if I wanted to do a top 50 list, I can't just do revived series. I wanted to do classic and revived as well. So I thought, okay, what I'll do, I'll just make my way through the classic series, watch as much as I can, and then maybe take the list from there. So I started watching the Hartnell era from the very beginning, including stories that I'd never ever watched, which included Marco Polo. And I'm thinking, you know what? This is the marathon. I'm going to do a Hartnell marathon. It will not be a full-on 25 days of December marathon, unfortunately. I have to make the videos 2 months in advance for Content ID stuff, so I can't make all 25 videos in time. But I've crunched the numbers, and if you get rid of the stories that I've already reviewed, the Dalek stories, the Cyberman story there as well, and you include stuff like Adventure in Space and Time, you get the perfect 25-day marathon. So what I'm going to be doing, starting from December, but not concluding in December, will be a Hartnell marathon. We'll be going from an unearthly child, we'll skip over the Daleks, then do Edge of Destruction, Marco Polo, Keys of Marinus, the Aztecs, the Sensorites, Reign of Terror, etc., etc. A lot of these reviews are either nearly done and about to be uploaded and will be made available early to patrons. So if you want to get your name in the credits of those, become a patron over the next couple of days. But if you want early access to them, you'll get them basically as they're done. And then they'll have to go through the 2-month Content ID process, except the ones which need loose cannon or animation recreations and stuff like that, because they don't get Content ID claimed. So yeah, so if you want to get early access to those, get your names in the credits, you can become a patron. That helps to massively to support the channel as well. You also get access to a MrTARDIS Discord server. The people in the Discord server have known about this for ages. We even did a classic Doctor Who club for Marco Polo. Robin, again, I assume you mentioned my friend Maria Bergman. She's one of your patrons. Yes, yes, she is one of my patrons. She will get a shout out the next time I do an in-depth edited video. So yeah, apologies for those who have been waiting. Like I said, it's been a really busy summer, but when it rains, it pours. And over the next few months, you are going to be getting an awful lot of Doctor Who Hartnell reviews from an unearthly child to the smugglers, plus an adventure in space and time. In order to fill out some of the days, I'll be doing a couple of surprise reviews, a few things that will be really, really interesting to talk about. But the next marathon will start in December, but it will not conclude in December, unless some sort of weird miracle happens. But yeah, that's going to be the next review marathon. I'm going to be going through the entire Hartnell era, and then depending on the momentum, depending on where we go, we may continue through with Patrick Troughton. Maybe in the format of The Trip of a Lifetime, where it's a weekly review. But I think after Hartnell, I'll take a few weeks or a few months off, and then we'll dive into Troughton, and basically try and make my way through the entirety of the classic series. Frustratingly, season 2 has been announced, and it means that if I want to make the deadline, I will have to stop. I won't be able to use the restored footage from season 2, frustratingly. Hey Jay, will you mention the 3 Doctors? No, that will not be covered. The 3 Doctors and the 5 Doctors, which I've already reviewed, but that will not be covered. We'll get to Hartnell multi-Doctor appearances later on. I think what I might do is a character retrospective for the first Doctor as well. Oh, also rankings for the seasons as well. I'll do rankings for season 1, 2, and 3. I can't do one for season 4 because I won't have watched all of season 4. And I will not be doing Twice Upon a Time. I'm sorry. Is Twice Upon a Time on the list? I don't think it is. No, I can't find the list. I did have a list with all of the days like drafted out, but I don't believe it was on there. I'm not watching Twice Upon a Time. I want to celebrate Hartnell. I don't want that. Don't want that in my house. So yeah. So, Ryan Whitling, what's your favourite Hartnell episode? Ask me at the end of the marathon. I've not watched all of them yet, so I cannot be conclusive. So yeah, thank you so much to all of you folks for your support as well, for being here. And also, I just saw Freddie Stather in the chat. Fred's to Face has just become a patron for £1. Thank you so much for becoming a patron. You'll get your name in the credits of these Hartnell reviews. So yeah, thank you so much to Freddie for that. Massively appreciate the support. You'll get your name in the credits. So yeah, that's the best way to support me for the near future. And of course, the Centenary special, which is coming out next month, I'll drop that review as soon as I can. Patrons will get it, and then it'll be on YouTube a couple of days after that, and Content ID stuff and everything. So yeah, Ishanti with Galaxy 4. Galaxy 4's there. Okay, 1 second. Doctor Who list episodes. Now, this won't be a comprehensive of like what is going to be everything reviewed in the marathon, because I'm adding a couple of things in to make sure we get to 25 days. But Unearthly Child, Edge of Destruction, Marco Polo, Keys of Marinus, The Aztecs, The Censorites, The Reign of Terror, Planet of Giants, we're skipping Dalek Invasion of Earth, The Rescue, The Romans, Web Planet, Crusade, Space Museum, Time Meddler, Galaxy 4, Mythmakers, Massacre, The Ark, Celestial Toymaker, The Gunfighters, The Savages, The War Machines, The Smugglers. And if that doesn't make it to 25 days, I'm reviewing a couple of other things, including An Adventure in Space and Time, the 2013 David Bradley special. So yeah, that is going to be the next marathon. Like I said, because of scheduling, I've not been able to make it fully work for all of December, which is very frustrating. But I think I may do all of season 1 for December, and then as we get to January, February, drop them weekly, the rest of them weekly. That's the current penciling it in plan. But we'll see how it goes. A lot of these stories I'm also watching for the very first time. Reign of Terror, I've never seen. The Crusade, I've never seen, of course. I have watched Mythmakers, but not for a long time. I've not watched The Massacre. I've not watched The Ark, Celestial Toymaker, The Savages, The Smugglers. A lot of these I'm not... I've never seen these stories before because they've been lost. Loose Cannon will be helping out, as well as the official audio reconstructions. The Marco Polo one was really, really good. But yeah. So yeah, that's what's coming over the channel over the next few months, and the best way to be up to date with that is the subscribe button and also through my Patreon. Thank you so much to all of you folks who are my patrons, and like I said ages ago, for patrons, if we reach either 200 patrons or a specific amount on the Patreon account, we've got 150 patrons. If we reach 200, I will do a I will not be animated, but I will be doing a retrospective video on all of the Doctor Who animations during the Wilderness years, which includes like Death Comes to Time, Scream of the Shouker. I'll do either video reviews of them individually, like I did with Real Time for Cybersember, or I'll do a bigger retrospective like Class. I don't know what form it's currently going to take, but if we reach either 200 patrons or $1,000 a month on the Patreon, then that's the next video. We got 100 patrons for the Class retrospective, so if we can double that, we can get to the next thing. So yeah, thanks so much. James Topwell, if we reach the limit, MrTARDIS will go shirtless on stream. No, I'm not cashing those checks. Maybe when I'm, I've finished at Christmas and I look suitably hench because I will not have eaten any turkey. WG fan, will next year be Trouted December? It might not be a December thing, but watch this space. I'm not sure. I've not even got this one done yet. So I wouldn't. It's not like Dalek December where the obvious sequel was Cyber December. We'll have to see what happens with next year. But I'm thinking before we get to the 60th anniversary of the show, it makes sense to go and look at the beginning of the show. An Unearthly Child review in particular is like the first 5-10 minutes of it is just me saying this is how Doctor Who started. And then the next 20 minutes is the very first episode. And then the rest of the review is the other 3 episodes. Because that first episode is genuinely special. It's like TV magic. Like, my favourite bit of the first episode of An Unearthly Child is when, I swear, Hartnell directs one line, straight down the barrel of the camera. He's in full goblin mode in that scene. And I love it. So, yeah. Patrons should be getting the first few reviews of that marathon early in the coming weeks. TFM stay on target. That is target. We're talking Hartnell stuff. So yeah, and also maybe as in the Discord server we do the classic Doctor Who stories. The next one is Abominable Snowmen, but my copy has not arrived yet for reasons. And then that will be in the next Doctor Who Classic Club, but I don't have a date for it yet. And then we'll do a few more Hartnell ones. K-Cast reviews the classic YouTuber creator stalker. You announce a project, then everyone asks, does that mean you're going to cover everything else related to it? Been there. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the curse. But there are worse curses to have, I guess. One reason I decided to do this instead of Master December is that the Master is in so many Pertwee era stories that it means that I'll have covered the entire Pertwee era just through that marathon, and that doesn't feel right. I feel like we should go through the era as intended. Like, for the Master, Terror of the Autons, Mind of Evil, Claws of Axos, Colony in Space, and also what makes Master December very difficult is that I've already covered so many of those stories already through Cyber December, because they had so much overlap. And like I said, I think that's doing the Master a disservice in terms of that review format. So the reviews for the upcoming marathon are going to more resemble the review marathons from Dalek December, Cyber December, as opposed to the Trip of a Lifetime, even if they have a similar release schedule to the Trip of a Lifetime, if that makes sense. Because the Trip of a Lifetime, I actually didn't do as well as I thought it would in terms of viewership, and I think a big part of that was because they took a while to get going. There was the whole minute prelude before we got to the titles, whereas the Dalek December, Cyber December reviews, within 20 seconds you're into the review, you get the opening out the way, and bam, you're into the review. Whereas Trip of a Lifetime, there's a lot more preamble, so I think people turned off before that. That was the plan. Aidan Woodhead, if you're going to do the whole classic series, that's going to be a few years of content for you. That's true, but I've got to cover it sometime. HR Wrigley, I love George Trip of a Lifetime series. I really liked it too. And also, if you wanted to watch the full 7.5 hour experience, you can go onto my channel and you can watch the full 7.5 hours Trip of a Lifetime. Yes, you can do that. Watch it. Do it. Fall asleep to it. Keen Stockton, what happened to your top 50 scenes read? I talked about this on the last stream, but it got taken down for policy violations, even though it was a re-upload and it hadn't violated any policies, and YouTube could not tell me what policies it violated. So I'm going to wait until the Centenary special, add a moment from that into the compilation, maybe Eve of the Daleks. I don't think there's a moment I can justify in a Legend of the Sea Devils to put in the top 50 compilation. It just feels like it would be participation trophy syndrome if I were to do that, but we'll see what the Centenary special has either way. Jack Alexander, friend of the live stream, I've got your badge. Awful lot of running. Thank you, Jack, for joining us this evening. Honestly, make your retrospective of some of my favourite Doctor Who pieces of media out there. Absolutely make my Christmas. Thank you so much. Yeah, they're the content that I enjoy making the most and get the most enjoyment out of aside from the live streams. But the live streams are mainly there, of course, so I can talk about stuff relatively in a topical format, but also so I've got content throughout the rest of the time where I don't have these in-depth edited reviews. Shamat S, would you ever cover Doctor Who video games or board games? At some point, maybe, yeah. I know that Jack Alexander wants to do some stuff with Doctor Who D&D, and I'm happy to join him on those, because I've never done D&D, and I think Jack maybe wants some people who are fresh-faced and green to D&D or role-playing, so I'd be the diversity hire there. But in terms of video games and board games, definitely video games. I've covered them in the past. I did Edge of Reality and Lonely Assassins. I also, for my birthday, got Doctor Who Operation, where it's a Dalek, and I need to do an updated history of the Daleks video to find out where that board game fits in. I need to know where Doctor Who Operation fits in. Lydia Who, don't forget Fallout Who. Yes, Lydia keeps on bringing it up in the Discord, and I just don't have time to properly dive into it. And I also don't think I have a laptop powerful enough for it, annoyingly. But yes, Fallout Who as well. That's meant to be really, really good.